All right, Ramon, what's happening?
Yo, ABL. I'm actually sober tonight, which I promise I won't make a habit of, but I'm making up for it by wearing my Soul Glow t-shirt. So I feel the spirit of Arsenio and Eddie Murphy and Eric LaSalle, who played the guy with the Soul Glow. Um, anyway, I did catch there's a couple topics I just shared with you on what was it, Skype?
Yes.
But before that, I did see your chat with the two uh, nice people about Mr. Kaepernick,
Yes.
and I think it was so funny how triggered she got over nothing. Like, and then she kept going on afterward, and I actually did disagree with you to a degree. I do think that some of it is politically an issue. So I think, but the explanation is like this. I think you were right about the fact that it's a distraction in the locker room. And what they don't understand is that, let's say, you have somebody like Mike McCarthy, who's the coach of the Packers, who has won a Super Bowl, and he had Aaron Rodgers, who got injured last year. At the first press conference after that happened, a reporter yelled out at him, "Why aren't you thinking about signing Kaepernick?" And he said, "Well, I just answered your last question that we have Brett Hundley ready to go. I've been training him for 2 years to be a good backup for Aaron Rodgers, and Hundley happened to be black as well.
Right.
So anybody who that like I get it that Colin Kaepernick probably, if you look at the ability, he probably deserves to be in the league about as much as Johnny Manziel. But some of those teams that needed quarterbacks last year, like the Indianapolis Colts, they didn't have to go to Kaepernick to get a good backup. They just traded for Jacoby Brissett, who was, a reasonable quarterback for them. Kaepernick probably wouldn't have done much better than Jacoby Brissett. It's all about number one, getting people to buy tickets and watching the games, which with Kaepernick that would present a problem in Indianapolis or even in Green Bay. And then on the other hand, it's about winning games. So I don't believe that Kaepernick adds too much about it, but I think people just have to let it go, and maybe one day he will be back in the league. I don't know. I
See,
mean, it's not that important.
one thing about him is that it was rumored that he didn't want to take a backup role. He wanted to start, or he didn't want to. If he was going to be a backup, he didn't want to be like third or barely on the bench. So I'm not sure if that's true or false, but if it is true, then that right there leads to him not really being able to be signed because a lot of teams probably wouldn't need him in the starting lineup, and they definitely don't need all the extra drama he brings.
Yeah, I think that I think that I think that at a certain point he was willing to consider a backup role, but it doesn't matter at that at that point. Even if he was to consider a backup role, ABL, let's say he was with a struggling team, one that doesn't have a fantastic quarterback. You could say for Jacksonville last year had a quarterback controversy, and people start to grumble about the starting quarterback. And Blake Bortles was kind of shaky last year. Suddenly you get this upsurge of people who aren't necessarily motivated by football calling for Colin Kaepernick to start the game, and a coach does not want to deal with that. It's as simple as that. And I think people think when you talk about a problem in the locker room, it means necessarily only the players. I think it also should mean the coaches.
Yeah,
If I'm, I think NBA coaches deal a lot with it, and it has nothing to do with politics. Over here in Cleveland, we have LeBron James, and people know that he basically has a decision over who becomes the coach of the Cavaliers and who keeps the job. So, it's that's an issue. It's an even bigger issue in football. You don't want to be switching your coaches all the time.
that's true.
So the next the topic that I sent you is about Governor Cuomo saying that he went to a Baptist church in Harlem with a lot of black people there, and he actually said that Catholics don't have rhythm, but they have better rhythm than Jews. So
Wow.
it was pretty funny, and there's a lot of people who are butthurt in New York about it. I'm not, because I think it is. I mean, the joke isn't that funny, but it's funny that people are pissed off. So, there you have all of his, some of his Jewish friends are saying, yeah, I didn't think it was that funny, and some of the other ones are like, shut up, he's still running for governor. So, it's pretty humorous, but buried in the same story, and that's where I wrote the article out. Is the fact that the New York City Housing Authority is basically bankrupt, and there's 600,000 people, poor people in New York City, 400,000 officially, 200,000 off the books in New York City Housing Authority. That's
Wow.
larger than the population of Boston.
Wow.
So, with all due respect to Jew jokes, which, even I am a fan of coming up on Passover, which I won't be calling in on Saturday night.
Right.
So it's more important that people understand that the reason Cuomo was there was that he was taking a shot at Mayor de Blasio, who has a director over at NYCHA, who has lied under oath about lead paint inspections that didn't happen. So, this is a bankrupt system, like financially bankrupt. It's also systematically failing people. There was a major scandal this winter that a lot of these people, and I'm a very big capitalist. I don't believe in public housing as a concept, but I don't think we should hold it against the people who live on it. They were living without heat during the winter in New York City, in these high-rise buildings. New York still has high-rise projects. So, the Ja Rule actually went to town hall. It was organized by the news at, I think it was the South Bronx. He's from the South Bronx, I think. So, and he starts hearing all these people, and he's like, yeah, I'm getting sued right now. You should probably sue the NYCHA. You should, let's go march right now over to, I'm doing I'm probably doing like the wrong accent, but he's like, let's march over to the NYCHA building right now. Well, nothing happened, and the lady's still in charge of NYCHA. So, if you read the story, I go through a whole list of other housing authorities throughout the country that are corrupt. Buffalo, I think East St. Louis just got reinstated as local control from the Department of HUD. Ben Carson handed back local control to them. We'll see how that goes. He could have made a mistake there. But the bottom line is that I think public housing does have to be completely revamped and give the control back to, the residents, at least some sort of representation. They're basically living at the mercy of their government.
Yeah.
Of these appointed officials. NYCHA is not democratically elected. It's actually appointed by the mayor. And I saw the statistics. I think it's 50% blacks are NYCHA residents, and 40% are Latino, and then 10% of other races. So we're talking about people. They're basically living at the behest of the mayor and his lady, Shola Olatoye. So take a look at that. I even have kind of a plan of how to kind of make it different, make it more local, make it more, give people a stake of ownership in it. Just take a look. It's kind of interesting, guys. The other issue, by the way, Atlanta, the head of the housing authority there, she signed a sweet deal with another businessman. Both of these people are black people, but the head of one of the board of directors at Fannie Mae, is a huge real estate developer over in Atlanta. And he basically bought 4 properties off of their housing authority at huge discount prices.
Of course.
And then she got appointed to Fannie Mae board.
Quid pro quo.
Happened. Yeah, exactly. So now for the fun stuff. According to Louis Farrakhan, and you can see it in the latest version of Farrakhan for Feminism, episode 4. There is the Earth is 66 trillion years old. The black people are all from Mecca, and they ruled Mecca, and Arab people were grafted by a mad scientist, just like the white people, sorry. And basically everybody is an experiment aside from the black people, and you can see it. You can you can watch my video. He says it with his own two lips. It's pretty fantastic, and there's a couple cameos in there from Jackie Chan and the guy from Back to the Future, Christopher Lloyd.
Now, was the mad scientist was that Yakub?
Yes, it's the same process.
Okay, the guy with the real big head and all that.
Yeah, it's kind of, I think of it, it's the same way as how in Breaking Bad, for a while they were making the blue stuff, and then by mistake they made it clear and people got pissed off. So it's the same concept. So, I mean, that's the origin of all these species. But more than that, think about it this way. Why am I even yakking about Farrakhan feminism? Well, it's true. I have challenged a couple people from the Nation of Islam, Brother Ben X, and the Nation Brothers to debate because they said they wanted to debate, but they haven't answered. But the real reason is the Women's March continues to sustain these frauds at the top of the march. Linda Sarsour and Tamika Mallory. Now, why is Linda Sarsour, a woman who was the head of the Arab American Committee in Brooklyn, supporting retaining this woman who's affiliated with a person who thinks that her ancestors were grafted as a mistake in a science experiment? It's ridiculous, and he specifically says Palestinians as well. So it's not me being the Arabophobe. It's Minister Farrakhan.
I heard she was white. I heard Linda Sarsour was white, but I'm not sure if that's true.
Well, that's what Farrakhan says. He says that they're white.
Yeah.
I mean, I know what you mean, but that's actually what he says.
Right.
That's actually what he says. And the fact of the matter, and I don't care, if Linda Sarsour was, would be more of a civil person, I'd say, do whatever you want. But the fact of the matter is I discovered exactly why this is going on. And everything's in plain sight. It's not like I'm snooping around some, buildings out in Brooklyn, by the dumpster looking for any evidence. It's all in plain sight. The Gothamist, which is a blog that used to be for local progressive news in Brooklyn, they had an article from 2015 where Black Lives Matter people were complaining that Linda Sarsour had kind of taken all the publicity from the movement and would kind of use it in order to just get political access to Bill de Blasio, the mayor of New York City. And in answer to that, she was saying, yeah, I got the meeting from the mayor. What did you guys do? So what she can't, she doesn't have what I guess you'd call it the black card. So she needs people like Tamika Mallory to give her some sort of traction within the black community. And indeed, now she's not with Black Lives Matter so much. She's more with the Women's March. She's more with all this other, nonsense that she's doing. Black Lives Matter has kind of taken a back seat. So, in the midst of all that, and also this march of our lives, it will, because, for example, she used to be affiliated with Russell Simmons from Def Jam Records. Russell Simmons recently, what do you know him from? #MeToo.
Yes.
So, unfortunately, and I still believe, he should have a fair hearing and everything. I don't know much about his case, but she has to rebrand continuously. So she's into this whole March for Our Lives thing, which isn't very much about feminism. So it's continuously about Linda Sarsour. It's also to some degree about Tamika Mallory. First, she was National Action Network, which was Sharpton. Then she was Black Lives Matter. Then she was Women's March. Now that it's on to the next skin. It's the the crab basically shedding its exoskeleton. That's basically how these people are. Gotcha. So please check out that stuff. Please continue. Even if you don't watch the videos, please share the hashtag Farrakhan Feminism and MSNBC, because Al Sharpton is still not answering any questions about this. And Brother Ben X, I'm open to debating you anywhere. I do have a little time constraint, but we can probably work it out.
Well, hopefully he sees this in response to the actual request for the debate. And thank you for the call, man. As always, definitely appreciate you.
All right. Have a good night, Anthony, and say hi to the callers.
All right, Dan. Take care.
Bye-bye.